Hey YouTube. So it would be pretty easy for me to sit here and talk about The Exorcist. I mean, it's one of the scariest movies of all time. It's one of the best horror movies ever made. It's The Exorcist. I mean, it's so well regarded and I love it and I would recommend it to anybody that is into the horror genre. But should it be talked about in church? That has been a big debate since its release in 1973, and I am talking about the film. I have yet to read the book, but it's on my TBR list. I've been thinking about this a lot. I rewatched the movie about a week ago, and I am a faithful individual. I was brought up in a Christian household, and it's not like The Exorcist was that movie that we talked about in Sunday school, or one that we even talked about as I grew older. So I really thought about this the past couple of days. Should it be brought up in church? Should it be made as an example? And I think that, first of all, full disclaimer, trigger warning, talking about religion on the internet is it's a tricky thing. I am not here to offend anybody or tell anybody what to do. I don't want to tell anybody how they should run their church or their religion or anything like that, or say that one religion is better. I'm not trying to do any of that. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. I just want to have a discussion about something that I've been thinking about. And I have thought about this because for over 40 years, The Exorcist has had this reputation as this demonic and dark and sinful movie. And I mean, it's about the possession of this little girl that has done nothing wrong. And the thing is, while it does all of that, it doesn't do it in a way that it's attacking Christianity or any other religion. It's portraying a demon in a way that is accurate. I think that when people think of possession, this is what they think of because it feels so real. I think that's what people are often frightened by, is the realism behind it. However, this movie is so much more than just something that is terrifying. Yes, it is that, but there's more meat to it. If it was just that, this movie wouldn't hold up that well. This movie wouldn't have the stats that it has if it was just plain scary, because there's this whole other layer to The Exorcist that I really love. I actually like the characters, and the stuff that they go through in this movie has a lot to do with faith. And that is my absolute favorite part of The Exorcist, and that's what I think makes it relevant and will continue to make it relevant for years to come. So one of our main characters, Father Karras, has his mother who is really ill, and he is struggling to keep her alive, and she eventually passes away in the film, and this is devastating for him. It is devastating for his relationship with God and the church, and he even gets to the point where he's like, I don't know if I should be doing this anymore, because I don't know if I believe in God anymore. I don't know if I believe in this sort of thing, because my mom, who was essentially a good person, suffered this terrible disease and just died. And he just sort of, there are parts where he is still a priest and he just is sort of going through the motions because he almost feels too guilty to give up, but at the same time he's like begging the people at the church. He's like, look, I can't do this anymore, because it almost doesn't feel right. It almost feels like I'm lying not only to myself but to other people. And that's a big chunk of the film, is where he's lost his faith. And this woman comes to him saying that her daughter is possessed. And one, he's still at the point where he's pretty much to his breaking point, to the point where he's done and he's not going to, he's on the verge of leaving the church. So he eventually bends and decides to help out this girl because he has a degree in psychology, so he thinks he can kind of help her there. And he goes to find out there is something seriously wrong with this girl. And at first he's kind of thinking that it's something to do with her mentally. Like he's almost on the side of the doctors for the most part, where he's like, yeah, there's something mentally wrong with this girl. She's not speaking a foreign language or anything. She just speaks English backwards. However, there are moments where he's like, there's something else going on, because she mentions his mom, who has passed away at this point, and it is not something that he has made super public. I mean, how would this 8 to 10-year-old girl know about his mother passing? And there are things that he sees that move all by themselves, and he starts having these weird nightmares, and he starts to slowly come about and being like, there might be something else to this. So he eventually goes to the church, still like not convinced, but feels like there is something else that they could do. And he's like, look, we gotta do something. And the church is like, well, we gotta have one, proof, and two, do you yourself believe that this is a true possession? And he's like, look, man, I don't really know. I'm not sure if I even believe in that stuff anymore. So later on in the film, he is paired up with Father Marin, who is this expert in exorcisms and is a very experienced exorcist and priest. He has dealt with this sort of thing over in South Africa, and when Karras meets Father Marin, there's this shift in his character, because Father Marin, to him, it's like he's this guy that has done it all and that has seen it all, and it's like, for him, the idea of demons is real as the oxygen that you and I breathe. That's how real it is to him. It's not something that he questions or anything. It's just something that he knows to be true. And as they do the exorcism, of course, Karras is horrified. There's a good half of it where he freezes and he doesn't know what to do, because he realizes, oh shit, this stuff is real. This demons, Satan, all these really bad, all these terrible places is real, and it's possessing this little girl. What do I do? But he sort of have a revelation that if all that evil stuff is real, wouldn't that mean that God, heaven, and all this other stuff is real too? Wouldn't that mean that maybe my faith isn't a waste of time? Maybe it's not something that's false. So eventually he has this moment where he recovers not only from the shock, but he also recovers a little bit of his faith. And I like how this is presented, because it's not like he says it out loud like, I finally believe in God again. It's not said. It's said in his facial expressions, and the fact that he goes and gets his ass back into that room and is actually forced to face the demon all by himself. But it's because of that faith he's able to eventually defeat the demon. Although it does lead to his end, it doesn't matter to him, because there is this other life, this whole other life he's going to go to. And that is the thing that is the most powerful to me. And that is the thing that I think can be used as an analogy. Not only teachings of one religion, but all religions, and also in a way that somebody can learn from it even if they're not religious. Because you have this big obstacle, the demon, and then you have this person, the Father, who has to overcome and battle this thing. And this ultimate evil can be used as an analogy for overcoming just about anything. Overcoming, in this situation, overcoming the death of a loved one and losing your faith. That's two big hurdles that this one guy has to overcome throughout the course of this film. And you never know if he's going to do it or if he's just going to give up. It all feels very, very grounded. And I think that's a powerful thing. And I think that is maybe something that people don't realize, because when people think of a priest, they think of this person that has concrete clad faith. But I guarantee that there are priests and other people of faith that have moments where they doubt themselves, moments where they doubt this higher power, and that's because they're human. It's not because they're awful, it's because they're human. We are imperfect as humans, and this film shows priests as human beings. They go for walks, they run, they talk about movies, they even say curse words, they get frustrated, they get drunk, they go out to party with their friends. They're just normal guys that just, and that is beautifully shown in The Exorcist, and that is my favorite part of the film overall. Is yes, the scary parts are done very, very well, and without it, the journey the father goes through is powerful. So I think that I think that while The Exorcist has no place in Sunday school for kids and teenagers, obviously, but maybe in a adult group or discussion class, this could be brought up. It's just a thought. I think that The Exorcist is a wonderful showcase of what faith is, the bare bones and human side of it, that it's not just this thing that is concrete, because there are times where I have had my faith challenged, and where times that I've, when I've lost loved ones, I'm just like anybody else, where I get mad and I wonder why God allows these things to happen. But the important thing is that people like me and Father Karras eventually find their way back, and that is, I believe, the true test of faith, is being able to recover your faith when you've lost it. And I would absolutely love to hear other people's comments and thoughts on this. If I'm the only one that's thought about this, or are there church groups that discuss The Exorcist, whether it be the film or the book, on a regular basis? I'd be curious to know this. But comment below, let me know your thoughts. I want to have a discussion about this. I want to know what everybody else thinks and what their thoughts on faith, rediscovering your faith, and what that theme means to not only you, but maybe what you think it means to whatever religion you follow. Because I think that The Exorcist can not only be a good study for Christianity, but I think it would work well for other religions too, where they can put themselves into the character's shoes, so to speak. And people that don't believe in a higher power can put themselves in the shoes of the mother who has to trust the doctors, and then eventually has to trust the church itself, and Father Karras and Father Marin. It's not made clear whether or not she believes in God or not. Thanks as always for watching. You can follow me on social media. Bye.